We good?
I believe so. Yep, I believe so.
Okay, thank you, sir. It is May 12th, 2020, 7 p.m. I hereby call the West Peculiar Fire Protection District Board meeting to order. We will do a roll call. Roll call as follows: Director Vincent, present. Director Engelbrick.
Present.
And Director Collins.
Present.
All members are present. We do have a quorum. I would first just like to make an opening statement that we are doing these meetings via Zoom due to the coronavirus, just for the safety of ourselves and the public, and also our staff at the fire station. I want to thank everybody for their cooperation and understanding. And these videos are available on YouTube to watch live and to also watch at a later date if you so-called desire. So-called desire. The consent agenda, we need to vote on the consent agenda. Please take a chance to review. The only thing is I would like to make a motion to amend the agenda to include under new business discussion, considering we're having Rich Barlow here to discuss our bond issue. He will give a presentation next, but I just want to make sure that it's added to the agenda to have a chance to discuss that under new business at that point in the meeting. So I entertain a motion. The motion would be as follows: to amend the consent agenda under new business to have open discussion about Mr. Barlow's presentation with debit and investment banking and our bond issue. I'll need a second and a vote on that.
I'll second it.
Motion has been second. Vote: Director Collins.
Yes.
Director Engelbrick.
Yes.
Director Vincent votes yes. The motion carries. We will discuss that later. Moving on, personal appearances. I will now turn the floor over to Chief Sperry, who can introduce Mr. Barlow and discuss his what he's here for tonight. Chief.
Thank you, guys. So what we have with us tonight is we've been looking at our bonds and our debt service periodically. Recently, Rich Bartow had contacted me from Raymond James about possibly looking at refinancing the bonds and saving the district money that we can put back in the citizens. He came out and met with me and Chief Larkey, put down some numbers. We kind of looked at it, and then since then the market's changed a little and it got even better for us. So I felt like it was in our best interest to listen to his presentation. So he's put together a presentation. You have in front of you the packets to discuss possible refinancing of our bonds and what kind of savings we might be able to save our citizens if we refinance our bonds. So this is Rich Bartow from Raymond James.
Thank you, Chief Sperry. And thanks for everybody meeting on this and letting me speak tonight. Again, this is crazy times for us. This is my second Zoom call tonight. It's always interesting to see the background of people and the different things. So it's kind of interesting. So getting right to the packet in front of you, let's just go right into it. The second page is the kind of the summary of everything. So right now you all have a bond issue that becomes callable. So what that means is if there's a cheaper rate, we can find it. This gives you two scenarios of doing it. The first one is the taxable. The second one is the tax-free. The second one saves you more money, but it delays it in time. Let me just kind of explain that first. So in the first scenario, we take 1.3 million of your bonds. We refund them tomorrow. So, right away we go in and we work on everything, and everything is on our part. We go in, we underwrite it, we hire bond counsel. Bond counsel comes in and says, yes, the West Peculiar Fire Department does in fact serve a community interest. We have to have lawyers that tell us that all the time. It's just normal way it goes. It would save you all about $81,000 on that service, on that general obligation bond, about 5.33%. If we waited until December to do this, you would save about $257,000 or 13.44% given the rates as of this morning. So obviously the term is, well, obviously we need to wait. Saving 81,000 versus 257,000. Saving more is obviously better. So the question may be, well, Rich, why are you here in front of us now and not in September or October when it's more relevant to us? The answer is obviously rates. And I'll show you some of those charts in the back in a second. But the other one is this thing takes us as a firm 60 days to get going. So I want to make sure I have everything in order to make sure it goes smooth as possible. Chief Sperry has shared with me that you all tried to do this a couple years ago and it just kind of fell through. And I want to make sure I do right for you all. I've been to the station many times. I've had a private tour with my kids on the fire truck. So it's one thing that's near and dear to my heart. If you go to page 27 of that thing, or on your PDF, that'll show you the rates that we have seen this year. And 27. So the 10-year is, we're going to look at the 10-year because this is a 10-year issue. On January 1st, the MMD is our S&P 500. So on the news and stuff, you see the S&P 500, that's for stocks. MMD is for bonds. So the 10-year MMD in January 1st is 1.44. On March 9th, it was 0.78, right? Or May 1st, excuse me, was 1.35. So you can see there's been a big jump in rates and they've fluctuated. The next slide, 28, is actually my favorite slide on here. And that just shows you how rates fluctuate. You fluctuate every day. I used to be in the stock market world, and the bond market fluctuates more than the stock market, believe it or not. So why wait? What would allow me to be able to work better for you? If you gave me the opportunity, I would start working on this on a twice a month look at it and say, actually it'd be a weekly basis where I'd say, where are rates today? And if there's a savings there and we can narrow that gap of taxable and tax exempt down to there, if we narrow it down, then we need to probably pull that trigger, because we don't want, a big savings to go out the window. That's the first thing. The second thing is, we all know about these stimulus plans. Most of us got a check or a deposit in our bank from the federal government. And those are nice, but there's a new stimulus coming, and we think there's a chance that there's going to be something what's called an advanced refundings allowed. That means what we could do in December, we could do today. Now, if that is allowed to happen, we need to be ready to pull that trigger. The sooner we are in that market, the better rates we get. If you say, well, let's wait on it and see what happens, if we are 30 days late to that market, the rates go up and we lose some savings. So I just want to be able to give you all the best savings I can and work for you now. Now, what's this cost? If we run through this and rates go skyrocket, what's it cost you all? Nothing. Until we pull the final trigger, nothing happens. Nothing. You're not going to charge. I'm not going to send you a bill for my fees, etc. Nothing is going to charge. Everything in your packet is net of all fees. So we have paid myself, the bond counsel, the QSIP, which is how these are identified in the stock market world, kind of like a ticker symbol. So for example, Walmart has WMT as their ticker symbol. You all will have, the West Peculiar will have a QSIP. Varies from thing to thing. City of Paola, Kansas, yesterday had a QSIP with 3 letters and 9 numbers this morning. It just kind of depends on whatever numbers available at that time. That is also included in that fee. So that fee is all that is all inclusive. So the numbers you are seeing is a net savings of what we can do if we refinance and refund those bonds. So with that, I'm going to questions.
Okay, tell me on what page your fees are shown.
Sure. Fees with the, yep. Fees are on page 7 of this one. So on page 7, you'll see uses, you'll see bond proceeds par amount, the premium, which is an additional money into the bonds. You'll see the refunding escrow deposits, the cash deposit of 78 cents, slugs purchase. So, when we purchase the new bonds, we have to pay the old bond holders out. So this will be buying the new bonds. Cost to issuance is a total of $34,800. That includes, my fee. That includes the bond counsel fee, the QSIP fee, the CPA fee. You can imagine, everybody's got a fee they have to deal with. So that's the cost of issuance.
I was just curious what your fees were, but I guess still to answer my next question, you've already answered, and that is
Okay.
that the amount of money that we're saving, you have already included your fee to oppose
Absolutely.
that. So we're saving that much money regardless of the fee that we're paying you. I'm curious what.
Yep. Yep. Can you ask that question again? The fee you're paying, you want me to explain that one again?
Yeah, just the fee we're paying is already
Okay.
offset in the numbers that you've given us as far as the savings. In other words, you've already figured out we're not saving this much, then paying you. We're paying you, then
Right.
saving this much money.
That's exactly right.
Hard over this Zoom to express myself properly, but I think you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. No, everything you see is net of all fees. Now, if we come in and let's say attorneys decide they want to charge more, then we take that off our fee. So if they came in and instead of and for a deal like this, the attorney's fee is probably going to be $20,000. And let's say they come in and say, we want $23,000 to do this. That $3,000 comes off my pocket. That's mine. Because I've already said this is the max fee I'm going to charge. And that is it.
So you're locking in a fee. The
Yep.
only other question I had regarding, and I think Chief Sperry already answered this for me, but I want to hear it from you. There's two things I see going. One is the fees, which you've answered. The other thing is I don't want to extend our debt any further than what we have to. So, kind of like when you refinance your house, well, you have 10 years into your loan and you refinance for another 30 years, you're saving money,
Right.
but you added 10 years. Does this add any length of time to our indebtedness?
No, it does not. All we are doing is increasing your debt service, which is general obligation bonds.
Okay.
So for example, and obviously if you had to get something else, you would have to go to a vote by the public. But it would just allow for you to say, if you want to add more money to your fire department through general obligation bonds, you may do that. But it just lowers your debt service.
Gotcha.
So
we're saving the taxpayers money, which is what
absolutely.
because that's what
Absolutely.
we talk about saving us money, but we're looking for the taxpayers. Okay.
Exactly.
I've answered my questions. I apologize to my fellow board members. I'll be quiet. Any questions you guys got, you have the floor.
So you're saying it's better we wait until closer to September to do this?
The way rates are today, yes. But at the same time, I don't want to have us not say, Rich, work for us now. So in case because right now the difference between doing it today and waiting is this. But if you look at that graph on 28, you can see how if rates go crazy and that narrows to here, then we want to be able to pull that trigger. We want to be able to say, yes, this is the time to do it. So my question is there a number that you guys want to save on this? I mean, obviously the floor is 81,000. If rates decide to go down by 25 basis points or 0.25%, instead of saving 250,000, you save 260,000. It's just a way to find a way to save more money. But that just allows me to, and like I said, if the advance refunding comes in this next stimulus package, we need to be ready to pull that trigger immediately, because you can imagine if you take the fire department districts, the school districts, cities, counties, hospitals, anything that can be debt, that can issue debt to the public, if all of them start doing what's called advance refundings, then you can imagine that if the market just starts flooding, then instead of rates dropping, which is good for you, rates will start rising, which means less savings. So I just want to be able to have that ability to say, you know what? And obviously I wouldn't do it without coming to you all in a special board meeting if needed and saying, guys, this is where rates are. Do we want to pull that trigger right now?
Okay.
I want to pause for a second just to see if anybody else has a question, but I got a statement I want to make. But first, I want to leave it open for anybody that's got a question.
Okay.
Well, with that being, I'm sorry.
So I'm just gonna kind of reiterate, I think where we're headed is we know we want to wait until it's more advantageous to us. But we also want to be in a position to make sure we have the board up to date so that if the rates drop to a point where we think it's time to make that move, we'll call a special meeting and approve it, but you'll have all this data and this information. And we'll just be coming back to you with the lower rates and what that savings looks like at that time. If there's
And I'll have page, and I didn't mean to cut you off, Chief.
No, you're fine.
I'll have page 2 available to you twice a month. So you all will receive, and I'll email that to Chief Sperry and say, this is where we are today. So, today's May 12th. So May 30th, I'll send you an email. Says, here's where rates are today, and just give you, here's where we are. So you can kind of see, here's what's going on. That's just a service that we just value, the value we can add while we're waiting to see what rates do and waiting for that December date.
The comment I wanted to make is, and I think just to turn this into layman's terms, and especially for our viewing audience, because we are broadcasting live and people can play.
Absolutely.
It seems to me, and you can help me out on this, Rich, but it seems to me this is the same thing that a homeowner would do if he was shopping to change his mortgage. And the fact is, as mortgage rates drop, we all know, though, that when you go to reapply for a loan, even during that process, until you're locked in, those rates can change. So it's always a bit, I guess it's legalized gambling in the financial world, but, somewhat. But what I'm saying is the same thing here applies. If you're purchasing a house and interest rates are on their way down, at what point do you pull the trigger and buy it? Do you to take the loan out? It could drop lower, but if you don't do it at the right time, it goes higher. It sounds to me like what you're willing to do is you're looking for the board to give you approval to work on our behalf, to look for that thing, that signal that says, this is where you're at, fellas, let's go. And you're going to be working on our behalf to pull the to give us advice on pulling the trigger on this. Am I right? Am I anywhere close to being right?
That's better than I could ever say it. Could I use you later? That'd be great. Thank you.
Anyway, I usually mess up words, but so I'm just going to keep quiet and let the other board members have a chance to look at it and ask any questions.
Diane, do you have any questions on this?
No, sir, I don't. Thank you.
Leanne, do you have any questions at this time?
Not at the moment.
Okay. So I think where we are then, having listened to Director Vincent and everybody, is you guys have the package to look over. It is my intent to continue to move forward with Rich to receive that stuff. If we hit a point where we think it's advantageous, you'll be hearing back from him. We'll call a special meeting if necessary. I did talk to, as I mentioned, this. I've spoke to Rich Burks, who's our auditor. He looked this over and said it looked really good, that the second call was a good idea, but we should stay on top of it and look at all our options. So this isn't just it. I'm looking at every option, but right now this is the best thing we have in front of us. And I think Rich has done a really great job providing us information, simplifying this, and probably putting us in a really good spot. So other than that, I'll just be keeping an eye on this. I'll be looking at those updates he sends me. I'll make those available to you guys, and we'll be talking to him more as we move forward.
Okay, with that being said, Chief, I think since we added that to agenda later and nobody has any further questions, we will bring that up under new business to discuss any recommendations you have on that. And we'll thank Mr. Bartlow. I pronounced his name wrong earlier, but we want to thank you, Rich, and for showing up and being here for us tonight. So
thank you, guys.
Thank you. And,
Thank you. I think if you have any questions, give me a call, send me an email, whatever you need. I live right up the road in Raymore, so I don't really hide very well. So need anything, just let me know.
We'll do it.
Perfect. Thank you so much for making yourself available and helping us out.
Absolutely. Thanks,
Thanks.
guys.
Uh-huh. Okay. Minutes from 2014. They should have been sent to you electronically, and I believe Chief Sperry, did you deliver those in the packets today?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll give Tom a chance to review, and we'll need a motion and a vote second to vote on those minutes from last month.
Make the motion to accept.
Motion is made. Need a second?
Second,
Motion has been made and second. Roll call vote. Director Engelbrick,
Yes.
Director Collins,
yes.
Director Vincent with a yes. Motion carries. Minutes. Move on to Treasurer's report. Director Collins.
Current assets, operating fund, operating checking general fund, $1,905,629.79. Debt service savings, $364,812.87. Reserve savings, $1,223,510.01. Petty cash general fund, 9520. Accounts receivable, $1,676.51 for a total of current assets of $3,495,724.38.
Thank you very much. Accounts payable.
Current accounts payable is $48,285.49.
Okay. We'll need a motion to accept the accounts payable.
Motion,
Motion's been made. I'll second. Director Collins,
yes.
Director Engelbrick,
Yes.
Director Vincent votes yes. Motion carries. Transfers.
Please transfer $1,675.40 from operating checking into debt service account. And then please transfer $800,000 from operating checking account into the reserve savings.
I'll go ahead and make a motion to allow Amy to go ahead and do that. I'm need a
Second,
Director Engelbrick,
Approved.
Director Collins,
yes.
Director Vincent votes yes. Amy, you can do that. Chief Sperry, I do believe you wanted to make, you wanted a chance to address that real quick on the account payable.
Yeah, I'd like to take a second and explain that second one to make sure the public understands and you guys understand. We've had money that has carry over from last year's budget and money that was in that account that has been sitting there. Essentially what we did is took a look at our total in that account, acknowledged how much we needed to finish the year, also left a cushion in there so that we could run the first few months of next year out of that account. While we were waiting on our taxes to come in, transferred this other 800,000 out. We will still have money coming into our checking account for money we receive. What this 800,000 does is it moves to the reserve savings account, and we're going to earmark that for capital. So that would be things like the station remodel, parking lots, the new fire truck. So you'll see in our reserve account, you'll see a total, but then within that, we're going to kind of break those apart into what is the true reserve and what is in the capital account to make building station purchases, the bigger budget items. So this moves this money over and allows us still to have plenty of money in our operating checking, and it just kind of cleans up the accounts and makes it a little easier. So when you get your reports for the next month, you'll see the reserve account has a total, and then we'll break that down into two separate areas within the account where we have the reserve and then the capital portion of that. So this money will pay for the new fire truck. In the past, we've taken out bond issues to buy trucks and equipment. This puts us in a situation where we're able to purchase a truck out of our capital account, pay cash for it. We don't have to pay any interest. We don't have to raise the debt service levy. It lets us buy the truck outright and sets us on a path to pay off our debt service so we can lower our levy on our citizens.
Good job, sir. Appreciate it. I just want to stop here and ask for a point of information or procedure. And I'm going to direct this, if you don't mind, Chief, to our keeper of records, Amy McWade. I noticed that this is the second meeting we've done this way. And I notice on my minutes that we approved and other things that we've been approving, they require signatures. Is that something that maybe, I know you hate to put more work on you or Chief Larkey, but I know you brought paperwork behind us. Isn't she eventually going to need signatures on those? We need to get those documents out to each board member and get those signed, right?
Yeah, we'll have to go ahead, Amy. I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, we'll meet again. I mean, we have motions and videos that show that you've made motions to do that. As soon as you meet again, I will have a stack of all that stuff for everybody to sign.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure we weren't putting an undue burden on you to be behind on signatures and things in official form. Okay, enough said about that. Thank you. I just wanted that information. We are done with the financials. Thank you, Director Collins. Under new business, I am going to go ahead, and since I made the motion to amend it was there. Does anybody want to discuss any more? Chief, you want to give us any more? Do you want a vote from the board to allow Bartlow to move forward with anything that we want him to do? Do we want to contract his services? We know we don't pay him until something happens. What would you like from us, Chief?
And I'll have Amy weigh in to see if I have this right, but currently, I think as far as him just running numbers and providing me data, we can continue down that without a vote. We're not paying him for any of his services at this point. The only time we would enter into an agreement with him is if we decided to allow him to refinance, and that would be where I come back to the board and we take a vote. So at this time, I think he can continue to provide me the information and I'll keep an eye on it. The other thing is we are looking at, there are some other bond companies that Rich Burks, our auditor, said we could look into. So in the interim, while he's updating numbers, we will probably reach out to at least one more company, one of the bigger companies, and get a second proposal put together. So we would have something to compare it to. This looks really good. I've been really pleased working with him. The numbers look great, but it could be that the numbers could be better and I just don't know it. So we're going to be reaching out to a second company, one of the bigger ones around, to provide us some more data as we move along. And if in fact they come back with something that is much better, then we will be considering that. And I will be providing a second report to you. I probably won't be bringing them into any Zoom meetings right away, but once they provide me a packet and I've looked it over, we'll be getting that out to you so we have some comparable. Really, we want to compare apples to apples. Are they paying it off in the same amount of time? Are the fees included in the total savings, and what's the savings? So I don't think I need a vote. Amy can weigh in, but I think we can continue working with Rich just like we are. And the only vote we'll have to take is at a time that I come to you with a recommendation to enter into a refinancing of the bonds. That's when I have to have your permission to take care of that.
Okay. Very good. If there's nothing else on that, I'll leave it to the other two directors. Director Collins, you have anything else you want to make a comment about on that? Director Engelbrecht, any comment?
Not at this time.
Chief Larkey, I'll even give you a chance. Anything? Okay. I'll move on to under new business, item A, operational update. Chief Sperry.
So just kind of move quickly through some of my notes. The call volume staying pretty steady. I know a lot of the big departments have seen a reduction in their call volume with the COVID. Our numbers are staying about the same as last year. The only real, we might be slowing down a call or two, and that's simply because the high schools are closed and the schools account for a pretty good chunk of calls over there for us. So if we are seeing any less calls, it's really just we're not running patients out of the high school quite as much, but we're staying pretty much the same. As far as supplies, we're well stocked on PPEs, masks, gloves, goggles, pretty much all of the resources we need. We have a significant supply available to us now. We continue to get stuff from the state surplus, and we have been putting that stuff up in anticipation that, and it is my hope that we don't need it and that we're overstocked, but it's there in case I think we're a long way from being done. So those masks and all that equipment's here. We're in really good shape. We are also continuing to take steps to protect our staff. Everything from a machine to spray down the back of the ambulance and certain cleaning agents. We are looking at ultraviolet lights for the back of our ambulance that will also clean the back of those ambulances. Not only do I think that at this current time, that's a good purchase for us, but I think this outbreak has taught us that we can see this again and that those same items are good for future outbreaks. And it would be naive to believe that COVID's the last virus we're ever going to see. I mean, we've seen things like this before, never to this extreme. So we're continuing to take steps to protect our staff, buy equipment, and get ready to not only deal with the situation we're in, but make preparations for any future situations so we're not caught. We weren't really caught off guard, but nobody was geared up for this and staffed and prepared. So we're trying to get ahead of this and also be ready for the future. We are going to be testing all of our providers. The county has worked with the health departments and different things. They've did some private fundraising and provided test kits for all of our providers here. So everybody in the next few days will be receiving the COVID test for antigens. All of our staff to see if they have it, they had it in the past, if they will be able to tell all that. The county's doing that and then gathering that data to trying to kind of build a thing. So those tests are on the way, hopefully in the next day to two. I'm expecting those tests tomorrow, and we'll be administering them as quickly as possible and getting them over to the lab in Lee Summit. Our 2 new employees that we approved have started. They are in their orientation period, doing a great job. Both of them have fit in really well, seem to be working out well, have positive attitude. We're trying to get them on policies and get them going. So that process is currently going on. I still have 1 vacant position to fill. I would expect that more than likely by the June meeting, I'll have a name and a proposal for us then to hire the last vacant spot we have. We're also working with the market the way it is, the interest rates and the savings account interest rates, everything's dropped so much that we're really not making any money whatsoever on any of our money, where before we were getting some return on it. So we are working with the Community Bank of Raymore and their investment guy. He's providing us data on possible investments where we can take some of this reserve money and invest it and actually get an interest return and make some more money on that. So I just got the packet from him today. I'm going to be meeting with him. I'm going to be meeting with the other districts in the area, some of the bigger districts, to look at what they do, how they protect themselves, where their money is, to make sure. So I'm anticipate by June meeting having a proposal to you guys on a way to take some of our reserve money and invest that to get a better return for our citizens on that. New thermal imaging camera you guys approved has arrived. It's an incredible camera. I mean, the technology is just every day gets so much better. We have that in. We are beginning to train on that. We're doing some orientation on how it works and all the stuff. As soon as we get that done, then we're going to be bringing in some guys from the Kansas City Fire Department off the rescue companies who specialize in those cameras and use them every day. They're going to come down and teach some classes for free, make sure all our people understand how to use these cameras to the maximum, and that we have that skill set. So that's coming too with the new thermal imaging camera. We've also ordered some voice amplification mics for the new air packs. We bought those without voice amplification. I had never worked in a pack that had that. Most of the metro departments don't use it, but we have with the new packs had a few instances where guys felt like they were having trouble being heard on their radio, get to the outside because they just weren't loud enough. So I have ordered, I think I ordered 4 or 5. They run about $500 a piece. We'll be installing those on the air packs, and then we're going to be training with them and seeing if there's a huge asset, and if they work well and we think there's an advantage, we will continue in the future to go back and retrofit these packs and add those voice amplifiers as guys need them. But we wanted to get a sampling of how well they work, so we're going to put it on some of our packs now. So those were ordered, and we're waiting on those to come in so they can be installed. The last thing I'm looking at, and it's really not just for a report, is Station 2 yard care we all know we do all the mowing, but as far as weeds and grass over there, we have got a bid. I think the bid was approximately, and Chief Larkey will weigh in, around $1,000. And that would be for a company to come in and spray that. They spray it for weeds and feed. They do a winterization. They do a grub control. It's a 1-year contract, and I think they spray it 5 different times. Chief Larkey will weigh in. We are looking at that too. At Station 1, we get a lot of help from Mr. Briggs because he runs the turf farm next to us. He typically sprays. And the area out front small enough I can weed and feed that myself. The area behind, I'm not worried about weed. Station 2 is visible from every possible side. We get a lot of traffic. The church, the school. We want that yard to look nice and try to take care of it. And it's a pretty significant amount of grass to try to take on ourselves. So we're taking a look at possibly contracting that out. I'm going to get some additional bids from a couple other lawn companies and see who's the cheapest and do some quick comparisons. But I think there's value by the time we go out and buy the different fertilizers, the sprays, the grub controls, the winterizers, and try applying them ourselves. I think we're going to spend 2/3 of what it would cost us to hire them, and they do a much better job than I think we probably can do. So that's something we're looking at to try to put our best foot forward over there. Chief Larkey can weigh in on exactly what all the bid was. He met with them. So
It's actually 7 different applications over the course of a year. So winterizer, fall application, late summer application, grub control, summer application, and 2 spring applications. I kind of said those backwards, but it's a 7 different process. So
Well, those fall within your spending limits, and as long as it's in your budget. So you're not asking for a motion, you're just informing us, right?
no, I think this is more for information. I have the money within the budget that we can do that out of. We're taking a look at that to make sure that's the best value and the best use of our money at that station. Other than that, I don't think I have anything else right now. I think I appreciate you guys a lot. I know the Zoom meetings are something different, but they seem to be working out really well, in my opinion. I sat in on one about an hour ago with the Boy Scouts, and I can tell you there were 6 people on there, and it was a disaster. Nobody could use their cameras right. It was just a constant. I finally got out of the meeting because it was so it's pleasant to sit in on this meeting and have things go as well as it does. I think looking at the number of views we got last time, I actually believe we're probably getting out to the public more this way than we did when we had the meetings. We obviously will go back to public meetings, but it is my intention to hold on to this. What this does for us is potentially allows us, if one of you were to be on vacation or had something else where you were not available to attend the meeting, you could log in on Zoom wherever you were and actually attend via Zoom and vote, so that you're not just gone, so that it doesn't literally lock you into having to be in Peculiar every second Tuesday. If you happen to be somewhere else, I believe we can conduct a meeting in the back and bring you in via tablet and let you vote and participate. So I'm really excited about this and how well it's going.
Well, for me to weigh in on that, I'll just have to say, politics being what it is and people believe one way or the other. But my thing is I've got health issues. I can only speak for myself due to privacy reasons. I'm not going to mention anybody else on the board, but I know with my personal situation is much more comfortable for me. I know the numbers have leveled out or they've gone down, but the fact is it's still there.
Haven't.
I know, and you're right. You're right.
Yeah, they
No, they haven't.
Right. But I guess my point is even if they did level out or start going down, my son, who's works in medical biology, told me, he says, as long as it's out there, Dad, maybe the numbers do go down. But if they do go down, you still could be that guy that gets it. And you still could be the guy that transmits it to your firefighter. So according to our attorney, we're meeting in a way that the Missouri statutes say that we can meet, as long as it's a video meeting where we can identify who's voting, as long as it's made available to the public to view. We're not in a violation of anything, and we're practicing good behavior. So I'm for this personally.
Me
If you-
too. I don't have to wear a mask
Yeah,
any
exactly.
more than I have to.
Yeah. And as far as public, it's should be, and it hasn't always been, but I'm just saying this to public now, if any, just like the gentleman we had tonight, the way to speak at a board meeting is board meetings are for the board. If people from the public want to speak, they can be allowed to, but they need to submit in writing to the board that they'd like to be present in a meeting, and we'll be more than happy to link them up with a way to speak at a meeting. So, that's the one thing the attorney said is if people want to speak at a meeting, allow them to do so the way it's supposed to be set up. And that is to make a formal request to the board. The only other thing I wanted to say real quick is I normally don't listen after 28 years on the fire department. I don't listen to the radio, but I did listen, and I want to give a hats off to the firefighters, to our chief officers. We did have a fire since our last board meeting, and I got to say that I normally don't do it, but I wasn't doing anything because I'm in lockdown. I turned on the radio. Excellent instant command structure, excellent execution of the fire. It sounds to me like you guys, it sounded good on the radio. I don't know how pretty it was there, but it must have been because I was out. So hats off to you, Chief Larkey. I understand you took command as chief too, and I know you were the Chief Sperry and followed the command structure. I think it went outstanding. So that's all I got to say. Hats off to you.
Hey, Bobby,
Yes.
have we made any arrangements to start any of the BLS classes since AHA is lightening up on some of that?
The last time Corey and I talked, we were still not comfortable bringing in and doing that here. So I don't know. I will have to talk to Corey when he comes back in. We were getting some direction from American Heart about they really didn't want us out doing it. There was some thought about hands only, but so we haven't really ramped that back up yet. Let me talk to CJC, who's the one that sponsors us, and see what they're doing. We're starting to get requests of people who need it,
Mm-hmm.
is what we're hearing. We haven't went back out and started yet, but I think we could potentially do that. We're just gonna have to limit our number and be real careful about how we do it.
Yeah, they're recommending soap and water for the mannequins. There's a whole cleaning process, which I'm sure you've heard about. So
Right. Yeah, let me
And
get
then-
with Corey and them and see where we're gonna be on that, and hopefully we'll have some information where we can pick that up again.
And then I don't know if you know, but the UV lights a lot of times can redo the mask once or twice and be the N95s,
Right.
and you can reuse those. So
They make a UV light that we can put in the ambulance and actually have it in it where we can turn it on and it cleans the back of the ambulance. It also allows us to clean the masks. At this point, we're wearing N95 disposables and we're not trying to clean them.
Okay.
Knock on wood that our supply is good enough and we're in a spot where we don't have to at this point. If that becomes necessary, though, I have a ton of literature they've sent me on how to clean PPEs and maintain that. So
it's great.
Chief, anything else on operational update?
no, that's it for me tonight.
Board members, any other questions for Chief Sperry or Chief Larkey at this time?
Yeah.
Nope.
With your blessing, I'll move on to item 8, May employee anniversaries. First up, Ben White, 9 years. Travis Bacon, am I correct?
Yes.
For 2 years on the job. So my congratulations to Ben. I know Ben personally. I've seen him at the station a few times. Travis, I met him too. Fine fella, 2 years on the job. Appreciate it. And with that, we have Chief Bobby Sperry. 1 long year. Anything you want to say, sir?
Just to thank you guys for the opportunity. It has been a interesting and challenging year. I kind of look back now and think about when I came on the job and I was a fireman right out of the academy and I thought I knew everything. It didn't take me long around the old firefighters to realize I knew nothing and I needed to shut up and learn. The chief's job's kind of been the same way. I came in thinking I had a lot of knowledge and I do in certain areas, but it's been humbling. District is different, and every day I learn something new and realize that you could do this for 20 years and still not know everything about this job. But it's been a opportunity for me. I enjoy it working in my hometown. I enjoy the relationship I have with the board, who works very well with me, with my firefighters and our staff. I think I'm really lucky to have the firefighters and support staff and board that I have. So I just want to say thank you for the opportunity, and look forward to continuing down a path where we continue to advance the department, train our guys, and provide them the resources and tools they need to perform their job.
With 3 years tenure on the board at this time, I think I'm right, 3 years or somewhere thereabouts, I'll track. I'll have to say that I really appreciate the work you've done. I appreciate the professionalism. I appreciate the people that work for the department. I appreciate you, Amy. I appreciate all the work everybody's done, my fellow board members. I think we've all come together. And one thing I'll have to say, Chief Sperry, is I think I attribute this a lot to your leadership and your ability to, well, I could be nice and say nice things, but I could say to manipulate. But no, you do an outstanding job, sir, of working with us, keeping us together, keeping us pulled together. I think the board's working the best we have, and has in quite some time. And I know our firefighters seem to be very happy, and the job's getting done. The mission of the job's being done. That's all I'll say. Any other board members have any comments they'd like to make to Chief Sperry at this time?
Nah.
I guess the smiles are good enough for me, Chief, so that's good. And I want to thank Chief Larkey over there. Are you awake? Okay.
Yeah, I'm awake. I'm
Okay,
listening to you.
with that being said, there is no executive session unless any board member or any of the chief officers have any reason to move into executive session. I have none. Nope. Motion to adjourn. I need to entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion's been made. Need a second?
Second.
Roll call vote. Director Engelbrick,
Yes.
Director Collins,
Yes.
Director Vincent votes aye. Motion carries. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for being here this evening. That concludes our meeting for May 12th. Thank you.